Hello, algebra students. Mr. Lawrence here with your next flipped lesson. This should be lesson 3. We're still at the beginning of the year, and we're working on some more basics that you should have already mastered, but we'll go over them to make sure that you have them. And trust me, the next couple of days are so important because second semester, we're going to be doing fractions that have variables in them, and they are going to get very confusing if you don't understand the fundamentals. All right, the first thing I want to emphasize here is when we're adding fractions, we must have like denominators, okay? The denominators must be the same. The denominator is the downstairs of the fraction. If you have like denominators, adding these is simple. All we're going to do is count. And I'm not going to say this is 2/7 plus 1/7. I'm going to say I have 2/7. And then I have one more 7th. Well, how many 7ths do I have? Well, I have 3 altogether. I have 3 of these 7ths, right? So 2/7 could look like this. I've got 2/7, and then I have one more 7th. Altogether, I have 3 of them. So 3/7. Now, by the way, very important, notice the denominator did not change. For example, if you had, let me see if I can find them in here. If you had 2 stars plus 1 star, altogether you would have 3 stars, right? The star didn't change. It's still stars. Okay, the 7th doesn't change. All right, let's go over here to problem number 2. I have 4/12 and I have 3/12. Altogether, I have 7/12. See how simple that is? Now, I'm going to come back to number 3 in 1 second. Subtraction is done very much the same way. If the denominators are like, you can just say I have 5/6. Take away 2/6. Well, 5 minus 2, 3/6. A better answer, 3/6 simplifies to 1/2. Okay. Now, here, visualize this. I have 5/6. Oops, that's 1/5. Excuse me. I have 5/6. So let me clone this infinitely so I can turn it into 5 of them. There are 5 1/6, or more simply said as 5/6. If I take away 2 of them, be gone. 6th. Wait, I said leave. It won't leave. What will I do? Oh no. I know. I shall erase you. And then I take another 6th and cast it aside. What am I left with? I'm left with 3/6. And 3 is half of 6, so it simplifies to 1/2. Okay, now sometimes, and it behooves me that honors algebra students would do this, but it happened a lot last year. 1/2 plus 1/2 is 2/4. Can you think, pause the video, prove why 1/2 plus 1/2 cannot equal 2/4? It makes absolutely no sense. There is no sense in this answer. Okay? Well, let's think about it. Let's simplify 2/4. It simplifies to 1/2, right? So what you're telling me is you took one fraction and you added the same fraction to it, not 0, and you came up with the same answer. That's what you just said. You just said 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1/2. That's like saying 3 plus 3 is 3, or 5 plus 5 is 5. The only way you could do that is if you were adding 0 to a number. 7 plus 0 does equal 7. 0 is called the identity for addition. Okay, because when you add it to the original number, nothing happens. So, if you're a person that thinks, well, you're supposed to add denominators, stop doing it. Okay, I've explained it 2 different ways. You're in honors algebra. This is not an acceptable mistake any longer. Okay, let's talk about adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to count by the larger of the 2 denominators. In problem number 6, it would be 3. And I'm going to stop when I get a number that the 2 goes into evenly. So I'm going to go 3, 6, stop! There it is. 6 is my least common denominator. I'm going to change both of these fractions so that they have a denominator of 6. And once they both have a denominator of 6, I'll be able to add them or subtract them just like I did on the front page. Okay, well, let me ask myself, how do I turn 2 into 6? Well, I multiply it by 3. But if I do it in the denominator, I have to do it in the numerator. By the way, I've got a gold star for anybody that can tell me what I just multiplied 1/2 by. Stop and think about it. See if you can tell me in class tomorrow. What did I multiply 1/2 by? Multiply. Listen to me. Multiply. All right. So I turned 1/2 into 3/6. Now I have 1/3. How do I turn 3 into 6? Well, I'm going to multiply it by 2. But if I do it in the denominator, I have to do it in the numerator. And again, I got a gold star for anybody that can tell me what I multiplied 1/3 by. It's a real simple answer, but it's so simple a lot of people don't even realize it. All right, 3/6 and 2/6 is 5/6. And there you go. So 1/2 plus 1/3 is the same as 5/6. All right, let me go over to this problem 7 here. And again, I'm going to take the larger of the two denominators, and I'm going to count by it until I get one that the other denominator goes into. So I'm going to go 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. Stop. All right, I need to turn both denominators into 45. Well, I'll have to do 9 times 5, and then I'll have to multiply by 5 upstairs. So this fraction is going to turn into 40 45ths. That is a 0, not a 6 there. I'm telling you that 8/9 and 40 45ths mathematically are the same thing. Okay, 2/5. Well, I'm going to multiply by 9. I still want to get a denominator of 45. So I'm going to multiply by 9 in the numerator and the denominator. And I'm going to get 9 times 2 is 18, and then 45. I can go ahead and subtract. 45 minus 18, or 40 minus 18 gives some of you trouble. 40 minus 20 would be 20. But I didn't take 20 away, I only took 18 away, so my answer would be 22. All right, over 45. I'll check to see if it simplifies. I don't believe it does. The factors of 22 are 1 and 22, 2 and 11, and that's it. And none of those numbers goes into 45. There is your answer. All right, one more example. Okay, this time, let's say we have something like 3 sevenths. And I want to add 1/14 to it. Okay? Because some of you are thinking you should always multiply your denominators together to get your LCD. That will give you a common denominator. It will not give you the least common denominator in every situation. So again, I'm going to count by the larger denominator, 14. And I'll stop because 7 goes into 14. Now this fraction here, I'm not going to do anything to because it already has the common denominator of 14. So I'm going to do 1/14. This one here, I'll multiply the denominator by 2, and then I'll multiply the numerator by 2. And it'll turn into 6/14. And 6/14 and 1/14, 7/14, and that simplifies to 1/2. And there you go. All right, so that's a brief lesson on adding and subtracting fractions with like and unlike denominators. There will be an extra practice video attached to this where you can try some on your own. All right, Mr. Lawrence signing off. Good night, everybody.